Hello, fellow visionaries. This is Ryan Haley, and this week I'm going to talk about Bitcoin, blockchain, and other cryptocurrencies. Now, if you guys were watching recently, I kind of gave some cautionary warnings to people about investing in these things. And that is not to say that I don't think that Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies are a good long-term investment, but the emphasis being long-term. I think also a lot of people are looking to make a quick buck and just, get in and out with a short-term trading or speculation mindset. And I think that, as we saw recently, Bitcoin just went down about 20%. So it's important to understand that Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies are very volatile, meaning that their price rapidly changes. It goes up really high and then very quickly goes down a lot. But generally, over time, the trend is upward. And there's a lot of charts that show these pretty predictable patterns, particularly with Bitcoin. So I do think it is probably a good investment for people to have, but don't put don't put all your eggs in one basket. As always, you don't want to put everything you have into one asset class. And most importantly, have a long-term hold period or investment horizon of, I would say, at least 10 years just to be safe. But from what I'm reading and studying with a lot of people who have done a lot more research and study in this and are a lot more savvy in this area than I am, I do think that there is going to be significant gains for people who buy Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. We don't know which ones exactly are going to be ones that make it and which ones fail. Bitcoin seems pretty well established at this point. So the way a lot of people talk about it is there's Bitcoin and there's everything else, right, in the cryptocurrency space. And everything else besides Bitcoin is referred to as an alternative coin or an altcoin. And that's not to say that Bitcoin is necessarily better or worse than those other ones. It's just that it's different for a couple different reasons. Number one, it has by far the most mass adoption as a legitimate currency, an asset class right now. And then also it has a finite supply. And that's really important because that means that the currency can be more stable, like almost like gold. And that's a way that a lot of people talk about Bitcoin as digital gold. Because it's got some kind of scarce, limited supply that helps to keep the fundamentals of the currency stable. So those are important things to understand. Another really important thing about Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies is that it's not controlled or created by a central bank or government. So I think that's a really important thing in this era of unprecedented money printing and just, Federal Reserve and other central bank manipulation of, currency, interest rates, and just overall financial and economic markets. So I do think there is value to having this. It's just that you've got to have a long-term investing mindset because it's a very up and down journey. And you don't want to be that person who buys in right now and then sells it when it goes down like it just did a couple of days ago. And again, that's why I recommend a longer term hold. If you're interested in doing some more research, one of the things I was looking into as one of my friends and clients suggested to me was the Bitcoin halving cycle, HALVING. It's where the price of Bitcoin or the reward that is given to people who create more Bitcoins, called miners, they will, at certain predetermined periods in time, they will receive half of what they were currently making before this halving cycle. And so what that ultimately does is create less output and more demand that, all else being equal, would drive prices up. There's also what's called the stock to flow model, and you could look that up. That's the stock is how much Bitcoins currently exist right now, and the flow is how much are being created or will be created over a certain period of time. And so there's some pretty consistent patterns. I was surprised to look at the charts and the data. They're not perfect, but I do think a lot of people, as high as Bitcoin has gone up, and how the radical acceleration in the price just in the last year or two is, I was thinking for a long time, like, okay, I missed the boat. This is a bad time. It's, the party's already over. But from what a lot of people are saying, we're probably in the second or third inning right now, meaning there's a ton of potential future upside, but you're going to have to hold on through some pretty rough up and down, market prices and, a lot of volatility, like I said. So if you can do that and you're not putting too much of your money in one particular thing. I do think there is value to having exposure to these asset classes that could be significantly higher over time. I'm not going to go into a whole lot of other things that I could right now. I might make this a series and talk a little bit more about it. Again, I have to caveat, as always, that I am not securities licensed. I am not an investment advisor. I'm not giving any specific person any specific advice. This is just for general educational purposes. And I'm learning a ton about it right now. I feel like I'm pretty out of the loop and need to really educate myself a lot more. But I'm at the point where I've had enough conversations. I think it's important to be talking about and really understand how these things work, because I think they could be what a lot of people think they're going to be is, as transformative as the internet revolution that happened starting in like the early to mid 90s, and how that has completely transformed the world and how we do business and how so many things are done. This could literally be, that level of disruption and transformation. So I think it is important to start looking at this as something that we all need to understand. And like I said, I'll go into more depth in future videos, but I hope that kind of gives some good perspective. I think it is a good long-term asset class, but I am concerned about people who are just, recklessly speculating and trading without really understanding how these things work and who don't have a long-term mindset. So yeah, I'll probably talk more about that, and I'd be curious to hear your comments on all this. As always, you can go to visionpossible.net to get more information about us. And if you have any burning questions or want more information in a follow-up episode, leave us those comments in the notes, and we're looking forward to seeing you on the next episode.